Padres fans, we got to talk about what's going on with the free agency. There's some huge names both leaving and potentially coming to join the Padres in 2026. This video is going to be all about the starting pitching edition of that. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show that's trying not to give in to the hate-watching trend that it seems to be is becoming very self-evident in the comment section. It's okay. Guys, we made the playoffs. We've got good players. We're headed in the right direction. And maybe we don't ever actually win a World Series, but we're not irrelevant. So there's that. As always, we love reading the comments, so keep them coming. But if you want to hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. I showed you Michael King there, and I want to cut to the full list here, because the man who is on the image behind me, Dylan Cease, is at the top of it. These are all of the big name free agents, and a big name is in quotes, kind of. But this is a fairly comprehensive list of all of the notable free agent pitchers this coming offseason or this offseason, depending on where your particular team is in its October goings and comings. But as apologies, as always, to everybody who watches this on a phone. Sometimes we got not enough screen space, a lot of names. We'll get through this. I don't want to necessarily do list radio and one-to-one talk about each person's individual opportunity to be a Padre, but I think if you go through this with Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen, Framber Valdez, Chris Sale, a club option, Michael King, mutual option, right there, two of the Padres players. This doesn't seem to be in any sort of list of alphabetical or anything like that order. So I maybe if only subconsciously, I do think that ESPN rates the two Padre free agents as some of the best available pitching options out there. So keep that in mind, that as we talk about and expand the rest of this to include Jack Flaherty, Justin Verlander, Jordan Montgomery, Shane Bieber, going down, Scherzer, Brandon Woodruff, Zach Eflin, Chris Bassett, Walker Buehler, sort of, Nestor Cortez, there's another Padre, John Gray, Merrill Kelly, Frankie Montas, Dustin May. Some of these people we're getting already where it's kind of over the hill. Nick Martinez, do we want him back? Marcus Stroman, Lucas Giolito, Charlie Morton, I thought that we had already heard that he had retired, so that's the line. I wish we'd had him a year ago. We did have him a year ago. Oh, well, then I wish I had him 3 years ago. Kyle Hendricks, Miles Mikolas. Do we want Chris Paddock back? Okay, so you see that list, or you hear at least from the names, that list certainly, it dies off after a certain point. So, yes, there are free agent pitchers out there galore. Padres have a multitude of options and opportunities probably to get people at, I'm not going to call it bargain basement pricing, given that we're not picking up, we're going to pay this guy $300,000 for, we have those guys already. We have Randy. But safe to say that Dylan Cease and Michael King represent two of the bigger, stronger names, ages, skill sets, so to make them more marketable and more attractive free agents. I think that even with the year that Cease had, because you can dig deeper into the analytics and say, oh, well, if the strikeouts were still there, he just didn't get certain run support, he had some bad games, he had some better second. I still think that those two are going to, unless Michael King is having people whispering in his ear saying, hey, the injury situation this year it's gonna kneecap your earnings, go back to the Padres one more year and then hit unrestricted free agency. I think that both those guys are gonna get pretty strong indicators that if they open themselves to the opportunity of free agency, that there will be bidders. Now, there is always a chance for overpricing, and if Cease is asking for truly top market 20-something million to be a guy who can only go 5 innings and might have a 4 ERA, maybe you do see something like that where he sits then all the way into the late spring training of and maybe that experiment doesn't work, and it's like Blake Snell, and he overprices himself, and he has to go down. But I think Michael King, even with the injuries, probably has several teams interested in being competitive with him. So I think that if you're asking me who do I like out of all this, what would be my game plan? Christian, what do you want for the Padres in 2026? This is at least maybe this is maybe hyper focused more on the starting pitching. We'll talk about the bullpen in a second, but I think that there's enough of that returning that I'm not really all that worried about having to deal with free agency in the bullpen. But I think there are myriad names in here where, like, okay, a Shane Bieber, kick the tires on. Do we bring Nasty Nestor back? Does Walker Buehler want to come back to the West Coast and give it another try out here in the NL West and have some revenge against the Dodgers or something? It's like, I say this to hopefully drive home the point that I don't see necessarily anything there that I'm like, oh, dope. It's not that there aren't a couple of guys that you can't talk me into liking out of that list, but I don't see a solution there that's like, oh, these three guys, in aggregate are all going to not be bad enough that they're worth it, like to replace Michael King and Chris Paddock. Oof, that's an awful Freudian slip. But I guess I kind of equate Chris Paddock with Chris Sale or with Dylan Cease right now. But so to me it says let's go after Michael King, and I've done other videos that you can go watch about the total where the budget situation is, but needless to the TLDR of the budget situation, the Padres are going to get like one good swing this offseason at a guy, one good big budget purchase, unless they can do some sort of miracle dishing of like a Xander or a Cronenworth or something like that. And I think there are multitude of offensive options to be like, okay, where it's Arraez or it's somebody else or O'Hearn or it's somebody outside of the Padres. But I also think that I see Michael King as being worth it to spend that money on. And I think that turning the Padres rotation into Michael King, Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish as my 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5 being, that's where we figure out Randy Vasquez or Kyle Hart or somebody along those lines who can be the journeyman until someone young steps up and fills that slot. There's no one really left in the minors that I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for that guy to come in mature. But I kind of think that plus like this year's offense minus Ryan O'Hearn and Luis Arraez is a really, again, successful team. So let me know what you think about this total. I'll show the list one more time. What do you like out of this? Do you like Cease? Do you like Cease and King? Do you like King? Do you like neither of them? And do you want to get Verlander down here? Like, let's start the dialogue and discussion, because obviously we don't know what's going to happen. We can all just wait and see on this roller coaster that is the offseason. But we're going to enjoy it together, play a little fantasy GM along the way. So drop a comment, and if you want to hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If not, no worries. Talk to you guys next time.